I'm going to start with this meeting in a minute, please. And I'm just going to put the computer around this way. Okay. I'll read a book in a minute.
There you go, there's Tina. Hey Tina.
Hello.
How are you?
This is Elsie.
Hey Elsie.
Elsie.
You see those people on there, Elsie? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, they are. That's a bit funny, isn't it?
A bit exciting.
Absolutely. Hi guys, we'll just give everybody like a couple of minutes just to connect before we kickstart off another call. I hope everybody's got a beverage of choice in hand.
I do indeed. So we've got Mark. There you go. Tina, is Pam still taking very good care of you?
Yes, Simone, he is. We
Good.
just finished doing another ad just then. We're just
Yeah.
doing something or other that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I've been running my Essentials Box campaign and it's gone quite well actually. And then I've done another, we've got a few things on the go. And yeah, he's doing a good job at keeping it rolling.
And you guys got good news today with like regional tourism being
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah, that will make somewhat of a difference. Probably not until state borders open will make a really significant difference because the majority of our clientele is Eastern Seaboard. So, but anyway,
it's a good step in the right direction, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, too right. Yeah.
Well, if they're anything like me, I'm champing at the bit to run away for like a week or a weekend and just like enjoy the finer things of life and forget.
That's it. Yeah.
Forget that I have to lay a new concrete slab in the kitchen this week.
Okay. Yeah, let me put it. Do you want me to do it? No. Sorry, I've just got Elsie here. Music box on for you.
As we've got people joining, we'll just give everybody a couple of more minutes before we kick off today's session with Simone. So we've had a really good response again today. So we'll just give everybody a couple more minutes because it's quickly, everybody I can see is still connecting.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I had a bit of technical difficulties. My Bluetooth speakers for the whole restaurant here picked up the volume, so.
Ouch.
Awesome. And how are you, Steve Willis? You keeping well? You're muted, but there you go.
Yes, I am, Simone. Thank you.
Excellent.
I'm having to go outside in the cool because my office is full of people on the phones in other conversations. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. What else have we got? Trying to see if there's anybody else that I know really well.
Well, I can talk people through a couple of things. We just did a little going live little thing on how to pour a perfect beer,
Nice.
which was quite good, bit of fun. I'm Derek from the Bond store in Wallaroo. We have a microbrewery, distillery and restaurant that we opened back in December last year. And so, yeah, so we've been not a great time to be opening a restaurant or all of that sort of stuff, but it did give us a bit of a break to get back up on top of everything. So yeah, so I'm down here in our distillery bar. So we've got our little still back there, which you can see.
Nice.
Got some beer taps over here. Got some beers left over from when I was just doing how to pour a perfect beer. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
I've got to go and get myself a drink. Hang on.
Yeah, you need a drink.
Absolutely. It's that time.
Hey, Kim. Good article in the paper the other day. Like the one in the Barossa. Was it the Barossa News it was in? Oh, I still can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Kim.
don't think your mic is. Now, yeah, try now. There you go. No. Kim, can you try talking again? Nah, your microphone's not working for some reason. I don't. All good. There you go.
Oh, we've got some action there.
No, still not. Got Matt's on his phone. That's all good. Mr. Conlon, it's very kind of you to join us today. Nice to see you. Who else have we got? Madeline, Fleur, Nicola. Nicola, whereabouts are you from?
Hi. My husband and I have got the Watervale Hotel.
Yeah, nice.
Watervale, South Australia. We've got, the Watervale Hotel, which we took over about 2 years ago, and doing a rather large renovation on the hotel. We're not living in it as previous owners have, so opening up the whole space and putting a big beer garden in out the back.
Okay.
We also have started a permaculture organic biodynamic farm, so we're growing all of the vegetables organically on our own property.
Yeah, cool.
Fabulous.
Hotel and things like that. So yeah.
So you'd be as frustrated as I am being a publican right now, then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to be patient and breathe. That's all.
Yes, yes. Although it has given us the opportunity to stop apologising for builders making noise when doing.
Yeah.
At least we can get a little bit more work done.
Yeah, no, same. We pushed the button on every reno we had on our wish list to do in the next 5 years. We're doing it all now. So.
all action by the sounds of things. Well, people are still connecting, but we'll kickstart today off. So thank you for everyone joining us on another social distancing happy hour. And I hope you've all got a beverage of choice in hand. Cheers. Some quick housekeeping before we kick off the session. Just as you can see, some people are already taking the opportunity to use the chat function. Please use that throughout the session to ask any questions. And if you could please mute your voice function, and we'll endeavour to get through answering these questions as we move through the session. For any of you I haven't met, I'm Kathy. I'm the Partnerships Manager here at TIC SA, and I'm joined by Abby as well in the team today. So probably some really great news if anybody hasn't heard. Just recently, the Premier announced the phase 1 lifting of restrictions as of this Monday, and that includes the encouragement to get people travelling in regional South Australia. So we did a little happy dance here in the TICSA office, and Sean's been really active representing our industry on the Premier's Industry and Response Council. So it's a great step in the right direction. So I'm really excited to have Simone joining us today and learn more about the key activities that we should be doing in the social media space, particularly as we navigate through what will be the new normals. For many of you, Simone is a familiar face you'd recognise from our events, with Social Media AOK being a long-time partner to TIC SA and supporter of the tourism industry. Simone has a very long list of accomplishments to her name, from being the publican and licensee of the Duke of Brunswick Hotel, Executive Director for BNI Adelaide North, and the driving force behind South Australia's leading social media agency, Social Media AOK. And more recently, adding a best-selling author to that long list with her first book, Seriously Social, Turning Your Online Game into the Real World Game. Welcome, Simone, and I'd love to hand it over to you, and you can take us through how to bulletproof our social media.
Okay, so anyone let me know if my audio starts to drop out. I'll turn off my video, but we'll see how we go. So what the plan is to just take you through 20 fairly like simple tips that you can all kind of put in place right now to make the most of the path back to whatever new normal looks like. Let's be honest, you know, the rules continuously evolve and change. And a lot of you got some good news today in terms of that accommodation and tourism type catchments, even though the number of people that you can have is obviously still limited to 10 at this point, 10 visitors. So it gets interesting if you're a large accommodation provider, I suppose. So we're going to run through ways to bulletproof your social media, but to do it in a way that's humanistic, that actually really connects to people, because that's what hospitality and tourism businesses, that's what we're all about, is actually connecting, building communities, becoming the anchor for those communities, and then having business success as a direct result of that. So the first thing to bear in mind is this is not the season to be quiet, it's the season to communicate. So whether you were a business that was shut down temporarily or closed, or you found that your operations have changed significantly, that doesn't mean that your customers aren't online. In fact, the opposite is true. Usage of social media platforms has gone through the roof as people find themselves looking for distractions to find what it is that they're doing. So you want to really get some clarity at this point about who you are as human beings, who you are as employers, and who you are as a business. And this matters because when you know what all of these things are, you can be much more candid in your social media posts. And the more candid you are, the more that you will connect. So this is a really good example. This is a post from over Eden. You'll see she's one of my assistant managers at the Duke of Brunswick. Now bear in mind that our pub, funnily enough, we don't have a massive following on social media. So we have about 4,200 page likes. But on average, we generally get a minimum 50% reach with our audiences, and we get a fairly high engagement rate, so anywhere from 17% all the way up and beyond. But we know a couple of things about ourselves. Basically, we have a 6-word story that we apply to the hotel, which is the outside world doesn't matter here. So all of our posts, you'll notice we don't talk about COVID-19 much at all. We talk about what we're doing, how we're having fun, we show what the staff are doing, and it's become a welcome distraction for our customers. So they go hunting for our content because we're just being ourselves. Okay, George, I'm going to turn off my camera. I might get you guys to just all turn off your cameras while we run through this, just to try and maintain the audio. Let's see if that works. All right, we're getting there. So we'll see if that starts to come good. One of the other things that you actually want to bear in mind is that you want to listen and watch your personal social media channels, because it will give you indications as to what it is that people are actually currently interested in. Okay, so ignoring COVID-19 or pretending like everything's normal can come across as inauthentic at best, tone deaf at worst. And let's be honest, our industries have been the hardest hit anyway, so we don't have to pretend that it's not happening. But you want to let your followers know that you're listening and acknowledge what that new normal is. So again, Eden features pretty heavily in our social media content. We've been heavy into DIY at the hotel and cleaning things up. But what we asked for was if everybody else was at home and doing DIY at theirs, to share their progress shots with us, because we were looking for inspiration. And we ended up with 40 or 50 people all posting their before and after photos of projects that they were doing at home. Now, did that make me a sale in the immediate, current time? No. But did it maintain connection with my customers and allow me to maintain a conversation and keep me front of mind? Absolutely. So again, there is a host of different things that you can look at in the same way that will allow you to do that. As I've said, keep posting, but your frequency needs to increase, not decrease. So your followers are spending more time online than ever before, and you want to stay connected to them. So if you aren't able to market or sell your products or services right now, focus on sharing content that aligns with your brand values. So what we mean by that is, again, give us the behind the scenes, honest look at what's going on for you so that we feel like we're connected to you as human beings. because what that means is as restrictions are lifted more and more, we are going to come running back to the businesses that we love and the businesses that we feel connected to. And again, that comes down to being human more than anything else. And you want to be looking at posting on average a couple of times a day, realistically. If it's Facebook that you're looking at least once or twice, at least twice a day. Instagram similarly. If it's LinkedIn, once a day is fine, because it's a very different medium. But if you're looking at that Facebook and Instagram platform, which are the two that are the biggest in that tourism space, post more often, not less often. We know that native videos get 478% more shares on Facebook than videos from YouTube or Vimeo or elsewhere. So make sure that you're creating video content. It doesn't even have to be good, to be honest. You know, and I know in the tourism space, we always talk about highly polished, beautiful content, but the reality is on social, you get better cut through little snippets that look real. So just like the lovely gentleman from Wallaroo, whose name escapes me right now, you know, when he walked us around so that we could see the distillery just a second ago, similarly, that, you know, that's good enough quality. It gives us a behind the Derek, that was the one. So it gives us enough behind the scenes stuff to look at that we can take advantage of. We know that video on Facebook in particular gets much more engagement, scoring, you know, on average 6.01% engagement with your audience as opposed to photo and link posts. So making sure that at least twice a week you're posting some kind of video is going to become really useful for you. And I'll run through some of the different types of video content that you can do. Bear in mind that 65% of all Facebook video views come from mobile users, and 95% of Facebook users accessing the platform on mobile on a daily basis. So you really need to think about, well, what does this image or what do these things look like on a mobile phone? We also know that people gaze 5 times longer at video than at static posts on Facebook. So if you're trying to keep people's eyes on the prize, and that's you guys, okay? We want to keep that conversation happening. So using video content will allow you to do that. 65% of people who watch the first 3 seconds of a video watch for at least 10 seconds. So the first 3 seconds is really critical. You need to surprise or delight or even confuse your audience in this first 3 seconds so that you keep them for a little bit longer. And then you need to make sure that your key messages are within that first 10 seconds. So we're a soundbite society now, and it's really important that we don't get caught up in trying to tell an entire story in one piece of content. We need to be empathetic. Okay, and what I mean by that is that, again, you don't have to mention COVID-19 explicitly in all your content, but take into consideration the tone of your captions and how it could be interpreted by people facing a different reality than you might be in, or maybe they're facing the same reality. So you can see here, we do a lot of implied selling instead of implicit selling. So cheeky photos of Lars, my assistant manager, and we're reminding people that we've got some, you know, IPAs and things on the go that they can get takeaway, or the fact that we're a dog-friendly pub. So we posted that we were missing everybody's pets, and we ended up with about 60 photos of dogs dressed up in capes and cocktails and all sorts of things. So more and more what you're going to see is, you know, people who are looking at treating their business pages like people. Okay, so giving yourselves that personality. Michelle, to answer your question, native video just means uploading the video to Facebook direct rather than hosting it on YouTube and sharing the link. So you want to be the positive voice in your digital community, because we are looking for positivity. The media is giving us all of the other things. You know, if you think about how bombarded we are with all of this information about COVID-19, whether it's globally or locally. In South Australia, we're very lucky compared to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. So let's be that positive voice, because that's what people are looking for. It's the littlest things that will make a huge difference to that connection. So you want to let your customers know that it isn't the business that they're helping, but the families that your business feeds. Okay, and there are different ways that you do that. So this is an example of Chris. He's my cleaner at the pub normally. Okay, so you can see, never fear, Chris, the delivery driver is here. All he's missing is his cape, but he has a face mask, gloves, and contactless delivery is available. So we've let people know that we're taking safety seriously, but we've had a bit of fun with it. And what we've allowed people to remember is that it's not about making money for me. Okay, it's actually about keeping all of these people in work. And so sharing the behind the scenes of that stuff is really important. Tip 5, ask for help. It's actually okay to be a human being, to not be perfect and to not be bulletproof. None of us could have physically planned for this kind of stuff. So don't stop trying to sell, but provide context, ask for support, and communicate gratitude when people actually help you. So here's a great example. So here are some of my loopy staff. You've got Lars and Jen and Lebo and Adam. Our Duke of Brunswick community, you know, these guys are like family to them. And likewise, then you've got our customer, Chris, who was like order number 30. So funnily enough, we posted this post the first week we started doing takeaway, and we said that we were chasing 30 takeaway orders a day in order just to break even, not make any money, but pay all the bills and do what we needed to do. That's what we needed to achieve. And so normally what we do is we write a number on every order that's picked up. And I got some feedback from some of the customers that they love seeing the number written on the bag because they know just how helpful they were and what a difference that they made. So it's all of those little things. So communicate your goals, share with people what it is that you're trying to achieve. Show up on your stories every day. So if you're on Instagram or if you're on Facebook, make sure you're adding content to your stories so that your followers are seeing your logo, they're seeing your business, they're being reminded you're alive. So it doesn't have to look perfect, but it's more important to stay at top of mind with your followers now more than ever. So little snippets of things. Could be a bloody photo of your morning coffee. Right now it could be a photo of your glass of wine. Or a pile, it could be a photo of a pile of bills that you're going to have to find money to pay, let's be honest. So there are all these things that you have to deal with, and it's about doing that in a way that, again, allows you to connect human to human. So using digital media doesn't mean that you can't connect to people. So remember to be you and let your customers be them, okay? So being a decent human and having a message will get cut through every time. The byproduct of this is that your business will build brand equity in the marketplace, as will you. So you guys have already seen this photo of Eden, but you can see that it's the engagement that we're chasing and the reach, okay? So engagement means that our message has made a difference. We've got people that are clicking on the posts, okay, and leaving comments, and that's really what we're chasing, okay? Every time someone leaves a comment on your content, it is pushing your content further and further to people who may not even know that your business exists. So this is really important, okay? It's the context of the content that counts, okay? So routinely on business pages, we see content that anchors you to your community will cut through and go viral regardless of the medium. So this is an old example, but it's a great example. So the first catastrophic fire day that we had this year, we posted this. It's just a plain text post. There's no video, there's no pretty graphics. It was literally just, if you work from home and you live in the hills and you have a dog, grab your dog, come to the pub, and you can work in the pub. That's all there is to it, okay? Now, bear in mind, I told you before that this page only has 4,200 people who like it, yeah? So what you can see there is this post within 12 hours reached 57,000 people, okay? It had 337 shares. It went nicely viral, had over 100 comments and over 882 reactions. Now, it's because we were just doing something nice. All of you guys have the capacity to do things in your community that are kind, that make a difference to people, and what you need to do is to share it. Steve, to answer your question, it's okay to ask for comments, but often it works better if you don't need to. So again, this is implied selling. So what did we tell people? We let them know that we had free Wi-Fi. We let them know that we were a dog-friendly venue, and we let them know that we had lots of function rooms and lots of space. Okay, so we were still selling to people who had never heard of our business before, but we did it in a way that wasn't come by our product or service. Okay, if you don't spend all day selling, then when you do, it will still have some impact and get good organic reach. So again, really simple. This is an implicit sales post. We have wine. We're selling it in jam jars if you just want a glass with your takeaway meal. So it's a bit old school. It's been a while since I drank out of a Vegemite jar, but you know, you get these things. But you can see that that went in front of nearly 17,000 people. Okay, so again, when you're not spending all of your time yelling at people with marketing, just being human beings, then even when you do sell, you will get good organic reach. You don't have to put money behind everything that you do. We are in business as unusual. So call out to your customers. What do they miss? You know, the people who love your businesses, what do they miss about not being able to come and visit you? How are they actually going? What's going on for them? Start and have real conversations with your customers. So again, it's an example of Ben Makepeace. So these guys used to come into the pub every Monday for their business meeting, they had a sales meeting, they had a dance studio. And Ben sent me this photo. So this is his Zoom background, and that's my back bar at the Duke of Brunswick. So he'd taken a photo at some point, and he was actually there then, you know, using it as his Zoom background. So when your community connects to you, they will give you content anyway, but you just need to reach out to them and check in. You've got an opportunity right now to evaluate your chatbot and messaging game. So is, you know, chatbot something that's worthwhile for you to look at? Should you consider having messenger chat installed, you know, as the pop-up on your website? So on our websites, we have messenger chat rather than a little pop-up chat. And what that allows us to do is when people send us a message on the website, it opens it up on our Facebook page messages, and it means we can continue that conversation with them down the track, as opposed to if it's just a pop-up chat on the website, when they're done, you lose them. So it's very important that you have both options. Okay. So Facebook surveyed a number of people, and over 70% of them said that they would message businesses with more customer service questions and use messaging to make more purchases. So it is something that you have to consider. You need to be able to personalize it and keep it human. So consider where messaging can remove friction or add delight along your path to purchase, and how it could give people confidence to move from consideration to conversion. These are the things that you really need to think about. The biggest mistake that people make with chatbots is that they try and complete the sale with the chatbot, and we're not quite there yet. Okay. The future of chatbots is that businesses will automate simple payments, allow users to pay directly over live chat or Facebook Messenger apps. That instant process makes the customer happy and improves customer satisfaction. I'm going to give you the hot tip though. Generally speaking, if you're over 45, you want to actually have an interaction with a real human being at some point. And if you're under that age group, you might be happy completing the transaction without ever speaking to a human being. So, you know, how far down the track do millennials fall into your target market? They actually don't want to speak to anyone, even when they check in, if they're going to a tourism destination. So Facebook groups are continuing to gain clout, and predominantly my general rule of thumb has always been Facebook groups are labour intensive and admin intensive, so you need to be really clear about whether they do serve a business purpose. However, currently, you know, the reality is that Facebook groups are your best way of creating a community around your business. Okay, people can't necessarily come and visit you as much as they might like, and so you need to get to a point where you're giving them the opportunity to connect with you, to have ongoing conversations with each other. So, you know, whereas in the past I would say that having a Facebook group for the pub, for argument's sake, is too, the cost benefit analysis doesn't stack up. Right now, while nobody can come to the pub, I would be better off at least being able to talk to all my customers in a group and have that conversation. So it's just something that you can look at. Short, crispy information morning, noon and night. So we talked about the importance of posting on a regular basis. All of these things, you know, matter. So are you the bright spark in your customers' days, or are you one of the things bringing them down? So again, if you have a look at the Duke of Brunswick's content, you know, we got smashed in the head a little bit. We had a bit of bad luck. So we ripped up a vinyl floor in the kitchen that was meant to be a 2-day shutdown, and now we have to put in a new concrete slab. So it's going to be a 2-week shutdown, which is not much fun. That's probably the closest to a negative post that I have ever put up on the page, and it still wasn't that negative. So we were like, we're down, but we're not out, and we'll certainly be back. So it's about, you know, sharing the little wins, letting people see, you know, it could be, let's be honest, I don't know how many of you are waiting for it, it could be your JobKeeper payment actually hit your bank account today or yesterday. You know, and that's a little win because you've been carrying, you know, wages for all of these staff. So if we go back to the tip about letting people know the families that you feed, one of the things might be, really happy to say I cleared my overdraft today, at least for the next week until I have to pay all my other bills. You know, who else is celebrating a win? And get your customers to share their wins as well. Social media ads are still going to matter, and you need to make some decisions about where you spend your dollars. So whether it's a boosted post or a structured campaign, the need to plan ahead hasn't really changed. So as you see yourselves come out of these restrictions and head into things, it's going to become really important, you know, that you identify who are your intrastate visitors that you should be targeting. What are some of the things that identify them as a target audience that has the disposable income that they're likely to come and visit you? And how are you putting your businesses in front of them, making yourselves the destination of choice? So getting clear about that and what you're going to do with that moving forward is important. So personalization is the key. There isn't anything new. It's what we do in face-to-face customer service all the time, but now more than ever, the cookie cut approach is just not going to work. So these are just some examples of some of the messages that we get on the Facebook page, okay? And you can see that we're very far from being corporate or bland or inane, and our customers get quite attached to us. Although I did give Alex a bit of stick because Alex is actually not the chef. He's the factotum at the pub, and you might need to Google what a factotum is, but it actually means man who does all the things. So he's my business partner and partner in crime. So he was quite chuffed that he was referred to as chef. So again, just, you know, have some personality, have some warmth, remind your customers that you really love them at this point. Talked a little bit about Messenger. So now you can start the conversation and keep it going. Go back through all the messages you've ever got to your page and ask your customers how they're going, okay? Don't try and sell them something. Just send them a message and go, hey, we've got a little bit of spare time up our sleeves right now with the current restrictions, and I just wanted to check in, are you traveling okay? You'd be really surprised the conversations that you open up and the opportunities that you open up down the track. Now, is this manual and somewhat labour intensive? Yes. But the reality is these are your existing customers. They're going to be the first ones that come back to you, okay, given the opportunity. So connecting to them and having those conversations is really valuable. You want to harness your talent while it's subsidised. So while those of you that are lucky enough to have staff on the JobKeeper program, and so in theory it's not costing you as much as it used to, find out what they're good at. Maybe some of them love doing graphics and editing video and things in their spare time. Maybe some of them are comedians and quite entertaining. So find out what they're good at. Think videos talking about every cocktail on your list, attraction or site you can see in your local area. Send, you know, your staff off on an adventure with a mobile phone to film some footage that you can use for your socials, or let them do a takeover of your accounts. Snippets of every experience you offer as videos or captions with GIFs is also some great content that you can bank for use now or for use later. So whilst we, you know, might be in a bind currently with cash flow and things like that, if we've got staff and hours to put them to work under JobKeeper, make the most of it. Remember that your suppliers are a resource, okay? So, and they're our friends too. So do some live interviews on Facebook with your suppliers. How are they going? Let the public and the community see that you support so much more than just your own business. Who are the other people that you're in? Now, I think, you know, someone that does this exceptionally well that's on the call is Kim Brown. I see all of her content on my personal Facebook feed quite often. You know, and she's out there trying to help the Barossa business community at large, and it's really beautiful to see. And it means that I work harder to pay attention to what she's doing. Okay. Don't treat your corporate customers as fair weather friends. So again, think about it in your businesses. Who are the corporate entities that you've been dealing with, or the other business customers that you've been dealing with? Take a look at your business card database. Who's out there that's thriving or struggling? Reach out and start sharing some of their content, or get them on a live video talking about stuff. Okay, more and more of those real conversations are the things that people are interested in. And by cementing those relationships now, again, you're going to have them coming back to you much faster once they can. So it's about letting them know that they matter as well. Look at bringing your business to the people. Okay, so work from home is a revolution. It's a fact. I know half my staff in the social media agency don't want to come back to the office. They plan on working like from home full time, and we're in the process of navigating that. So host a virtual bar, or take us on a virtual tour. Again, be the anchor for your community. Where is everyone having Friday drinks? Are you hosting a Zoom call like Tixer is right now? So, you know, in doing those kinds of things, it's allowing us to connect with you and maintain that connection. Value add promos is still a thing, but you've just got to be a little bit more creative with them than normal. Okay, so think outside the box. Normal deals are not a reason to support you, nor do they drive customer loyalty. So, you know, give them a piece of the pub, give them a piece of the region. Okay, so here's a really simple example. You can't see the photo, but we were giving away engraved DOB wine glasses with every wine bottle that they purchased for takeaway. Okay. We also gave away silly string. So we had a week of, like, we found 48 cans of silly string. So every takeaway order that was picked up until we ran out of silly string, we sent home 2 cans. Encouraged them to have silly string wars. So I'm not sure how that ended up in people's households, but we got rid of silly string, so that was a win. So yeah, think outside the box with your promos. Give people a reason to choose you for takeaway over somebody else. Okay, and it's not price driven. So we actually, with the Duke of Brunswick, we charge the same price that we charge for our normal menu to do takeaway. So we haven't discounted it at all. All right, but we've found other ways to add value, and that's seen our community really embrace it. We also did things that lined up. So we did meat trays. So you can actually pre-order a meat tray because that's what pubs do normally, Friday night meat tray raffles, let's be honest. So pre-order a meat tray and away you go. So yeah, think outside the box. Help others where you can. So I touched on this point a little bit. In terms of like the kindness revolution, and I think the way that we do business is absolutely changing. It's definitely not every man for themselves anymore. But the more of your content that shows that you're thinking about others, the more people will think about you. Okay, so it's a great example. Riley's one of my staff, and I sent him out to do a letterbox drop around our entire neighbourhood. So within a very short period of time, that basically said, we just want to check in on you, neighbour. We hope you're okay. If you need anything, here's our mobile, here's our Facebook page. You can just message us. And it was really lovely to see. We actually had a really old customer. I think she's about 72. Her name's Deirdre, and she called us. She called my mobile because my mobile was on this flyer that went out. And she goes, I just want to order some takeaway. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to walk downstairs and, you know, like pass my phone over to one of the staff. I'm like, oh, how did you get my number? She goes, oh, it was on the flyer that you put in my letterbox last week. And I was like, so these are the things, you know, old school marketing still works. But when you do the old school marketing, still make sure that you take advantage of it on digital as well, because you'll get traction at both ends, which is what you want. And finally, I feel like I've talked very fast, but number 20, okay, take stock. So while you're here, now is your best opportunity to evaluate, select, and refine the channels that you're on so that they really matter. get to a point where you have content that is useful and beneficial and human. Become the businesses that aren't selling to people but are building relationships that last you a lifetime, relationships that create success for you long term because your customers are as invested in your business as you are. Now that takes time and attention, and it takes some clarity around, you know, what channels you're on and why you're on them. But it definitely pays off in the long run. You know, if I use the Duke of Brunswick as an example, when we went 100% gluten-free over a year ago, you know, all I did was a post on the Facebook page. It went viral, it got shared into all the celiac groups, and we went from doing 350 meals a week to nearly 1,000 meals a week. And that didn't change. That stayed like that for over a year. And if it hadn't been for our lovely current new normal, we would still be making really good coin at this point. So connect with your community, find out what's important to them, and they will look after you in the long run. Just remember that people matter. Encourage the people that are using your businesses or services or coming to visit you to leave reviews, because that's absolutely social proofing and it will push your businesses further than they currently are. If you're going to automate messaging and things like that, give it a personality and keep it humanistic. Go back and health check your content. So what you've been posting in the last couple of weeks while you've been, you know, dealing with all this stuff, you know, is it connecting human to human, or is it just selling to people? And then refine it and change your content strategy moving forward. So I'm going to stop my screen share now and open for questions, I think, and start my video, and we should be okay.
Thanks, Simone. Wow, some really great takeaways for us all. And I love how you just share real life examples, because that's how it all resonates. It resonates to us all, I think, and we can all then try and visualize how we can apply that in our own businesses. So thank you so much, Simone.
Pleasure.
Just a couple of questions that have come through the chat function, and anybody else, feel free to flick through anything that you want to quiz Simone on or get some clarity on. But Lachlan Swan, posting twice a day is obviously ideal, but it can be challenging for people in small businesses. How would a couple of well-placed, high-quality posts work per a week? What's your thoughts around that?
So I think it's not working, so let's try this. Can you hear me now, Kathy?
Yes, I can hear you.
Cool, that's all right. So I guess one of the things for me is I've never done the well-placed, high-quality content in that tourism space. It's actually been like the raw, you know, photos. It could be a photo at my front door saying I've only just got home after 12 hours of sanding walls, you know, and that would get good engagement. And so I think the thing with that high quality content is it definitely has a place in the tourism market, and you still want to be doing that. You should be doing that as normal, but really I'm advising most of my tourism clients to treat their Facebook pages like their personal page to a degree. So let me see behind the scenes like you're my friend, and let me connect to you. So
the human element really resonates, you know, and your examples provide that. So yeah, thanks for that, Simone. And what about asking for comments through your social media posts? Steve's asked a query about that. How would you go about doing that?
So I do, well, I've done a few of those. So you could see where I was saying, you know, share with us your DIY. We're looking for some inspiration, you know, or share a photo of your furry friend because we're missing them. So when we ask for comments, we tend to ask for photos rather than comments, you know, or if it was a tourism destination, so I know Stonewall probably a little bit better than some of the other destinations, obviously, but it's You know, it might be, you know, show us a photo of the experience that you miss most. So maybe it's the horse-drawn carriage ride, or maybe it's dinner at a specific winery that you used to visit when you stayed there. So you've seen the travel inspo photos in your personal feed, so people tagging each other saying, here's, you know, photo 1 of 10 days of travel, and, you know, photo 1 of 10 days of albums that you missed. So I think there are lots of ways to ask for commentary, and your personal feeds will give you those indications.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fabulous. That's some great advice there. And Facebook and Instagram algorithms. Another language for some of us. How can you describe, you know, or share some of the logic behind how the posts are distributed, and perhaps enlighten some of our members to that technical side?
Well, I can try, and I only say that because really Facebook and Instagram are a law unto themselves. But the basic explanation is, generally speaking, when you post something, it will get shown to, you know, roughly 10% of your audience that happen to be online at the time that you post it. So let's say if I've got 1,000 followers and 100 of those are online at 7 o'clock when my post goes out, 10 of them are going to get shown that piece of content. Okay. If those 10 people don't engage with that content at all, their thumb doesn't slow down, they scroll straight past it, Facebook goes, that's junk content, I don't need to show that to anybody else. Okay, so the trick is that you have to post content that gets that first 10%'s attention. And the Instagram is similar. So it's about, you know, it's what content you engage with. The more that you engage with my pages, then you're guaranteed to see those posts the minute that they go up. So you're looking for reasons for people to comment. Now, how Facebook decides what engagement is good and what engagement is average. So if I clicked on your post, that's a win. So if I clicked on it to either look at the photo or to read more or to have a look at all those things, that's great. If I commented, that's the next level up. If there are multiple replies on that comment, then that increases it. So that's why we try and start a conversation with anybody that comments on our posts. So ask them an open-ended question, start having a conversation with them. If I share your content by a private message to one of my friends, that's the golden fleece. So, or the golden egg, I should say. So what when I privately share content, Facebook registers that I've done that, and it says this is really interesting and people wanted their friends to know it and see it. So sometimes you can game that system. If you ask a couple of your friends or your staff to like share it amongst themselves through Messenger, then that will actually push it further. So there are ways to get around it, but to be honest, those ways are a little bit labor intensive. So the more that you can just do human content that people like, that's not massively salesy. So my rule is 80% of your content should be connecting human to human and 20% should be, hey, buy my stuff. And if you can kind of stick to that ratio predominantly, you will find that it does quite well.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you, Simone. It all comes back to the human element, keeping it relatable. And if any of you want to learn anything more about that space, feel free to, and we can send out some details on it. But Simone's book, Seriously Social, Turning Your Online Game into the real world gain, and this is where Simone's expertise just completely draws back to that social media element and keeping it real, and the examples that Simone can provide, because she does it herself in her own business at the pub. So it's a method that works.
Yeah, I think just probably one thing to add, because Lachlan sent me a message and I think he's got a really good point. If you are that high-end luxury brand, it's still got to be consistent with your brand to a degree. So it's about, particularly on Instagram, so it's that grid feel when they first come to the first 9 posts. So you're going to have to find a happy medium about what those platforms are for you. You know, and obviously, you know, using the Duke of Brunswick as an example, it's a very down-to-earth brand. So whereas, you know, Stonewall is a luxury brand to a degree. And so, you know, instead of it being a photo of like my front door getting home, it might be a photo of basket press, you know, like in an open fire. So it's all about, you know, context with content.
And I think it's about knowing your target market of who you're communicating with too. I think that brings it back to, it is a part of your marketing strategy. So just be acutely aware of who your audience is and who your target market is, and your language is applicable to that. Simone, a question from James, of James Fitzroy Photography. With Facebook, once a post has been boosted, does that, okay, so does once a post has been boosted in Facebook, does that affect future posts? Is there a flow-on effect there?
There's anecdotal evidence or conversation that it reduces your organic reach. That hasn't been our experience. So again, I think if you get your content right, it doesn't have a direct impact because your content's already getting that engagement. So it's, we don't boost posts a lot, but it hasn't had a direct impact when we do. So, you know, at most I probably run a page post engagement ad through the back end of Ads Manager probably once or twice a week, maybe. And yet we're still getting minimum 50% reach and, you know, upwards of 15 to 20% engagement. So again, if your content's right, you'll be fine. If your content is salesy all the time, you just, that's not what social media is for. It's not what it's built for. It's built as an other-centric medium to build, like I said, to build community with your customers. So
yeah, it's definitely just one part of that marketing channel. And drawing back to your and your initiative about connecting with your local neighbourhood. It's about keeping your marketing multifaceted, and you guys harness that in just simply going out and chatting to your neighbours. But then, and that's a great message then to talk about on your social media channels as well. Does anybody have any other questions for Simone while we're on here? Otherwise, I've got a couple of things I'll share with you before wrapping it up.
Tina's typing.
Yeah, I can see that too. Busily typing away.
It's easy. You can just unmute yourself, Tina.
Yeah.
Very good idea. Simone, one of the things I've been told quite often that all your posts should have a call to action. What you're sort of saying is, well, it doesn't actually have to have you should be more subtle in your sales pitch, I guess. You say it doesn't actually have to have a call to action, but perhaps a really, I don't know, not obvious.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, so I call them implied calls to action. So my job is to either make you hungry or thirsty or make you wish that you were here, you know, or escaping the world. That's still a call to action. And if 20% of your posts are still a big call to action, then it will balance out. Yeah.
Good point. Thank you.
Fabulous. Did anybody else want to quickly unmute themselves and have a quick chat and take that opportunity? Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, only because I can't find my message thing on.
That's okay.
I think Kim just got my message to Simone, so forget it, Kim. Just a question about the role of hashtags on Facebook. It depends who you read a bit. Do they work for you, Simone? And if they do, how?
So we actually tend to steer clear of hashtags on Facebook, I'll be honest. And there's a couple of reasons for that. So if we look at, there are 17 million, give or take, active users of Facebook in Australia, and only 9 million active users of Instagram. So Instagram is predominantly where we understand hashtags, or Twitter, LinkedIn now as well. Facebook will index all the words on your post, so you don't have to use hashtags to get found in the search results. And because there are a lot of people who only use Facebook who don't speak in hashtags, it can be quite confusing to people. So if I do use them, it's quite far down in the caption. So I might finish my sentence and everything else, hit enter a couple of times and chuck, no more than 3, and really quite relevant hashtags. So I think there, like you said, it depends who you read and who you follow on social as to what their opinions are. That's just mine. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Yeah, and I think that goes into answering Cam's question there about how do you choose the right hashtag, making it relevant to your content.
Yeah, and there are some really good, like if you Google top hashtag research tools for social media, they'll give you some ideas. There are some great blogs out there that will give you a list of 5 to 20 different tools that you can check out. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. But you know, I cheat a lot. So if it's in a region, I'll go and find the people with the biggest followings, see what hashtags they're using, and see how much engagement they have on their posts. So if they're using heaps of hashtags, but they've got no engagement or no likes, there's no point copying them.
Yeah.
If they've really got heaps of, engagement, they've got lots of comments on their posts, they've got, a decent follower account, then you might consider adopting some of the hashtags that they're using that are relevant to your own content.
Fabulous. Thanks, Simone. Yeah, last final shout out. Anybody else want to have a chat or any queries for Simone? Feel free to unmute yourself to make it easier rather than tapping away.
I'm just going to give Simone a plug. Anyone who hasn't done any of Simone's workshops, I've done loads of them. They're really, really good. Simone knows what she's talking about and she makes it really easy and you don't feel stupid asking any questions. So whatever point you're at, Simone is excellent. So I'd really recommend go to any of her workshops. And she's got super good deals on with her workshops at the moment.
They're very cheap right now.
Thanks, Tina. You do my work for me. Love it. And as always, I'll flick out an email, post this call, and connect you with social media, AOK and Simone, if you want to engage with them and further look at some of the great courses they offer. Just a couple of quick messages from us here at TIXA. Sean has just stepped out of the Premier's Industry and Response Recovery Council meeting this afternoon. Some great messages about regional tourism for our state. We're really leading the way here, so that's really pleasing and some steps in the right direction. More discussion around the need to achieve a 40% uptake of the COVID Safe app. The app it lies behind a strategy to ensure we swiftly deal with any other further traces of infection in the population. So if you haven't done so, I just encourage you to strongly get behind the launch of this app. And by doing so, it will limit the health impacts of this virus to our community and support a faster economic recovery. Also, after last week's call with Brent, COVID-safe workplace practices. This was really identified as a key area a lot of you guys are seeking some more information around. I'm pleased to advise our national body, ATIC, are currently pulling together a COVID clean module as part of the Quality Tourism Accreditation Program. So just if you guys could please hold tight and watch this space for some further developments coming shortly. We are actively working on getting some resources together for all of you guys. As for next week, I'm actually really pleased to announce we're going to have the Premier, Stephen Marshall, joining us on our social distancing happy hour. He's really keen to connect with industry and all our members, particularly as he heads up the tourism portfolio. So keep across your inbox. The invitation will come out as of Monday, and we'll be bringing him to you next week. And that's it, guys. As we finish up, I just want to share a message with you all as we head into Mother's Day, celebrating Mother's Day this weekend. This Mother's Day, let's celebrate women whatever season of motherhood they're in. We've all mothered someone, and having showing someone some love and support in their time of need. So let's not just get behind our mothers and the mothers of the world, but let's celebrate the women in our lives who've helped us become the people we are today. So on that note, guys, cheers. Have a nice Friday. Have a lovely weekend. See you later.
Thanks, Kathy.
See you.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.